Murdoch-owned Talk TV has tried to make a splash by emphasising the divisiveness of Piers Morgan, and he's more than happy to play that game. Just this week, he tweeted, "Twitter already getting very angry about this interview. Tune in at 8 p.m. to see it live." And that was an interview with a spokesperson for the Taliban. He has also tweeted, "Tune in to Piers Morgan uncensored at Talk TV. You know you want to. Apart from Guardian readers, you're banned." And then you can see the advert, which has been put up on buses around the country. The nation's guilty pleasure. Half of Piers Morgan is a saint and half Piers Morgan is a devil. The problem from Piers and for Murdoch, though, is that people evidently don't want to watch it. It's not our guilty pleasure. It's just something we don't really like. Jim Waterson, The Guardian's media editor, has shared the latest ratings. He says Piers Morgan down further to 59,000 viewers on Talk TV, being beaten by Nigel Farage, who's on 74,000, and Dan Wootton on 75,000 on GB News. Now, being beaten by Dan Wootton, that is really, really a humiliation. I think if you told Piers Morgan that would be the case when he signed up to that job, he would probably have had second thoughts. Murdoch and Morgan have tried to underplay the significance of the linear view. So that's the views you get on conventional channels. Morgan recently shared News UK's claim that his show got 64 million views on social media in its first week. Morgan tweeted that and said, "Linear TV increasingly irrelevant to total eyeball potential for a global show like this, especially with younger viewers who don't really watch TV anymore." The problem with this, it's unclear where that figure came from and if it was principally based on a one-off interview with Donald Trump. But what is clear is that Morgan can take no solace from his YouTube views. So this is the most recent 8 uploads to their channel. You've got Piers Morgan Uncensored, 6,000 views in its first 16 hours. Brain Dump President Meghan Markle on 3.2k views. Would You Beat Tyson Fury, 14,000. That's relatively good for their channel. And then you've got It's an Assault on Our Identity, interview with Douglas Murray on 4,000 views. So, and his full show, they're on 8,000 views. He apparently has a £50 million deal over 3 years. He's getting way, way less views than Novara Media, an organisation which is funded only by our viewers. So it's not an impressive showing for the tens of millions of pounds that have been pumped into Talk TV. My question for you, Dahlia, has it already flopped?
I can't speak for how Piers Morgan is received in the rest of the country. All I know is that in my neck of the woods, I feel like at least a third of the massive posters I've seen with Piers Morgan's face has just had like some profanity just like written right over his face. So make of that what you will. I also don't actually think that we can even comprehend as like a grassroots media organization how much money these people actually have to burn. Because remember, like media hegemony isn't really a profit-making initiative. It's a very long-term, somewhat non-tangible investment because especially when you think about the kinds of overheads that something like Talk TV will have, this is not a profit machine. Like this is not something that is going to be making good returns on investment financially in the short term. So the return on investment isn't really profit, it's ideological hegemony, because that is important for securing profits in general, securing profits now, in the future, the profits to come, etc. By narrowing people's political imagination, by disciplining and defining the way that discourse takes place, by creating the boundaries around what is and isn't acceptable speech. This kind of media hegemony that through empires like Rupert Murdoch's, this is a way of shaping the lens through which the majority of people observe the world. And that is a very particular kind of power. It has a long-term return on investment by making people ideologically committed to a system that harms them, or at least that doesn't benefit them. And also it stigmatizes activism. It stigmatizes radical thinking. That's why we've seen the ultimate aim of corporate media to be towards consolidation, towards narrowing, towards concentration of power. And so the kind of journey to success looks very different when you think about it in these terms, because these mediums don't follow the normal logic of profit ventures, they are trying to achieve something different. So the attempt to create a UK style Fox News, which, the first attempt was GB News, now it's Talk TV, that will continue regardless of whether or not they are actually successful in terms of numbers, because they just haven't found the right formula yet. So whilst it's like somewhat enjoyable to see Piers Morgan tanking, but still doing better than Tim Newton-Dunn, whose debut show recorded a staggering 0 viewers, at least for half of it, we should see this as one step in a very long-term experimentation process that is being undertaken by the likes of Andrew Neil, by the likes of Rupert Murdoch, in order to bring that Fox News model here. And by that, I mean a reactionary political force that so dominates the consciousness of key strategic segments of the voting population that it literally has the power to swing elections. And that experiment is going to continue even if, version 1 has failed or version 2 has failed. And these people have nothing but money to burn in the pursuit of that formula that they are trying to execute. So I don't think that the tanking has necessarily happened because, the Brits are inherently averse to right-wing media. I think that they could eventually come across a formula that really works. But for them, I think, these are the losses that you make before you hit the jackpot. So we haven't quite won yet, although, I'm not going to undermine how enjoyable this little victory is.